Hello guys. So usually I do something a little bit wellness, but I wanted to come to you guys today and I want to show you this look because this is one of my favorite looks. So I'm going to show you guys how you can get the perfect complexion every single time. Even if you're a beginner, this is going to be super easy for you. Okay, so the first thing that I want you to remember is that I want you to have fun. Like, this is not meant to stress you out. This is not meant to be difficult. It's meant for you to have fun. That's what makeup is. It's fun, right? And I think sometimes we get stressed out because we're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this exactly like she does it. So we get a little stressed out, right? So I'm here today to tell you, I'm going to show you, I got stuff falling off all over the place. My office is a disaster. It needs cleaned up. So that will be getting done this weekend. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how you can get the perfect complexion. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to tell you have to do is you need to be using a really good primer, okay? That's going to be key for you, especially when it comes to complexion, okay? This is my go-to secret weapon, anti-aging ninja moisturizer, primer, protector, anti-ager. This stuff is beyond amazing. This is my favorite that I've ever used. And I'm an oily person, guys. So I absolutely love this stuff. It's my favorite. I don't know if any of you have been watching the Super Bowl the Super Bowl commercial with what's her face? I can't think of her name. She's off of oh, what is that movie? Legally Blonde, where she, teaches her the bend and snap. She teaches her how to do the bend and snap, and then she falls in love with the is it UPS guy or something like that? So yeah. So yeah, that's one of my favorite movies. But she's on that. And the whole point I'm getting at with that is, okay, that's black. I don't want black. The whole point that I'm getting at with her is, she's on a primer commercial now. And the significance of that is she's talking about sticky primer. Okay. So sticky primer has been like this new fad, and sticky primer is actually kind of good, because look at that. Because it helps mature skin with their foundation, okay? So it's going to help you, it's going to help that foundation lay a lot better. Now, not all primers are made equal that have SPF in them. Mine has natural retinol in it. It has natural vitamins in it. And so it doesn't have any silicones or parabens. So whenever you're using like a wax-based foundation, you want to make sure that you're using one that is not silicone-based, because it can make your skin look really, it can make your skin look really, what's the word I'm looking for? It can just rub it. You're rubbing it all around, and it just is going to look... It's gonna look funky monkey. Okay, so I got everything I need there. Now, some people prefer like a spray primer, and that's totally fine. You can use a spray primer. I always tell people, do what you gotta do. Use what you want to use. I just like to use that specific primer because it really... I have to go snack something, guys. Just ignore this mess. I'm sorry, guys. Just ignore my office. It's a complete and utter disarray. Okay, so this is the first thing that I like to use. And I'm using alcohol on it, not just pure old alcohol. This was part of our thing. Unfortunately, we're getting rid of it. But I use it for all of my photo shoots and everything. So I'm going to have to find a supplement to it. So it makes your drying time like you don't even have to worry about it anymore. Okay. So this, if you've never had one of these before, you need to get them. You can get them at your local Dollar Tree. Use my code free99. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys right now, your friend is going to be translucent powder right away. And you're probably like, why, Crystal? Why translucent powder? That's going to make my foundation stick out. Actually, it is not going to make your foundation stick out. Okay. So as you can see here, do you see how that translucent powder is already starting to kind of mattify, but it's also reducing my pores. And that's what we want to do. Also, if you struggle with any oily areas throughout the day, you want to make sure you're applying that to the skin. It's not going to feel heavy or anything like that. All of these things I'm wearing are very light. Trust me, because I'm very oily skinned and I cannot wear heavy. I cannot wear heavy. Okay. So we're going to leave that on for a couple of minutes. I'm going to show you guys what I love. So what I do, just pretend like this one is in the middle here. Just pretend this one is in the middle here. This is our Napoleon 3 well. Okay. And it's Napoleon because that's what it looks like, you know, when you get it, when you buy it at the, when you buy it at the store or whatever. It looks Napoleon like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take some concealer. This is part of my perfect complexion that I'm going to be showing you guys today. Is this little palette right in here. Okay. And it's my favorite. And I'm actually applying concealer to my lids. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to prime those lids. Now, as you can see here, I'm not doing tons. Not doing tons to my lid. I'm just, see how the difference of that is, like, makes those eyes like pop out. And if you look here, I'm chiseling out those. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, if you are mature skinned, you struggle with melasma, eczema, rosacea, anything like this, fine lines, wrinkles, anything like that, you are going to love this concealer / foundation because it is going to give you that non-cakey, wrinkly look. And the first thing I can tell you as to how you can see that is because I have really wrinkly sacs. If you look here with this concealer, it is wax based. So if you look here, my wrinkles are not accentuated with this. Now you can see my lines a little bit, but as you can tell, it's not like folding or wrinkly on there. Okay. So that's your first clue that it's not going to make it all dried out, crinkly, wrinkly, that kind of thing. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys how you can take this Napoleon thing and make it into an eyeshadow look. Okay. So I'm just going to use this bronzer right in here. Okay. And I'm actually just going to make it into a shadow. I love using brown as a shadow. Like, to me, brown is like the best that you can do. Now you could use the, hi Amanda, you could use the, like a brown shadow, but I'm using a, hi Beverly, I am using a Napoleon. And the reason why I call it a Napoleon, because it looks like Napoleon ice cream, right? Have you guys ever seen Napoleon ice cream before? It's my favorite. When it comes to ice cream, because you're getting 3 for 1, right? 3 ice creams for 1. You're getting the white ice cream, the vanilla, and then you're getting the cherry, or what is it, strawberry in the Napoleon ice cream. Is it that what you're getting? The strawberry, and then you're getting the vanilla, the chocolate, and then the strawberry. That's my favorite. So we're going to go ahead and use this little pink color right in here. And don't be scared. Don't be alarmed. It's not going to be like super, super duper bright. It's just going to be a little bit of color. Okay. Now, the reason why I like using that with this brown is because it's going to give you a little bit of that springy type look. And remember, we're waiting for that setting spray to kind of dry right now before we apply that foundation. I really want it to look, we applied that setting spray on top of the foundation, or on top of the skin. So I want to make sure that it's nice and dry. Okay. So I'm just feathering out what I've put in here. Okay. I'm just feathering it out so it looks a little blended in. If you want to, you can use a brush similar to this as well. If you want to use a brush that's a little bit more fancy dancy, you can do that. See how it's just kind of blending out. Okay. Now, this is where the fun's going to come in, guys. So you can stop where you're at right now with your shadow, but if you really want to get into it, you really want to do something fun, take this little light concealer right in here. Okay, and I'm just going to take my finger, I'm just going to put that right there in the inside. Okay. Now I know it looks a little crazy right now. You guys are all like, oh my God, what is she doing? I'll show you. So we're just going to blend it in a little bit. Just going to take my brush. Okay. Just going to feather it a little bit. And it took it from a natural look to more of a fancier, dancier look. Okay. Do you see how that went? All from using blushes and bronzers. And we used the translucent powder. So super, super easy for that. Like super easy to do that. So again, this is my this is my Flawless foundation. What I do to get Flawless foundation. So I sprayed the setting spray first. I went in, applied translucent powder all over. Okay, because it helps reduce the oil. It's going to help reduce your pore size. And then I sprayed on my setting spray. That's dry now. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what I do to get that perfect complexion now, since my eyes are already finished. So this is my favorite little doodad. A lot of people are very intimidated by foundation. They're very intimidated by the thought of foundation. People are intimidated by application. I'm here to tell you that there's no right way, there's no wrong way to apply any of that. So I'm going to show you basically paint by numbers of how I apply to get that perfect complexion. Now, my philosophy is the less foundation that I have to wear, the happier I'll be, right? Especially with summertime coming. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but I sweat like a teen in the summertime. Like I sweat really bad. So the more concealer I can apply to my skin is going to be more helpful for me, because this is a water resistant concealer. So it's going to stay on a little bit better on me for my personal preference. Okay, it's just going to stay on a little bit nicer for me. Now, if you notice here, I don't go all the way across my underneath my eyes, because the more you have underneath your eyes, the more it's going to have your wrinkles stick out. And so that's why I just come right here. And as you saw, I put the concealer right in the corner there. I'm going to apply a little bit here, and I'm going to apply a little bit right in here. You can apply right in here if you want to. I will tell you guys, this is probably the way I've applied my foundation for probably the last 3 years. And it kind of became a TikTok thing recently. And I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for a long time. And then I like to just kind of go in. And I just like to pat it in there. There was a big makeup artist girl who did murder and makeup. She did murder and makeup. She's on Facebook. She's the one who had come out with this a long time ago. And so I've been doing it for a while, but I'll tell you guys, this is so fun because you don't have to be a pro at applying makeup for this. Like, if you can literally draw and do Lisa Frank, you can do this. Trust me. If I can do it, you can do it, because I still struggle with foundation and all that stuff. People would think like, oh, you never mess up. Oh no, I have my moments. Like, I definitely have my moments. Okay, so it's just all paint by number. Okay. Now you're probably like, how do you blend this all in? Well, I'm going to show you guys. Okay. So again, that foundation palette that I showed you has the 3 on there. See, I have 2 different foundation palettes because I have 2 different foundations. One for the summer, one for the winter. So this is my winter color until I start to get some sun. I'm very pasty in the winter. Well, I guess this winter I wasn't, because I had color from Mexico. So what I like to do is I like to go in with my blender. I like to get my blender just a little wet. Okay, so I'm just going to go in here and I'm taking my foundation and I'm just applying what I had. I was just getting it warmed up. Okay, because I like to warm up my foundation before I apply it, since it's wax. Now, this is not like Scentsy wax, okay, guys? So don't be like, why is she putting Scentsy wax on her face? No, I'm not putting Scentsy wax on my face, okay? Somebody asked me that one day, and I'm like, no. Afraid not, afraid not. Okay, so I'm going to start with the lighter areas, and I'm going to blend it in. Okay. Now, like I said, you can use a brush, which I'll show you how you can do the brush. And I like to do the brush with the darker color. The lighter color, I like to use a blending bud. Okay, because I feel like it moves the lightness around. But do you see how it's covering up the redness of my skin? Now you can go as light as you want to go. You don't have to go dark or as thick as I go. I just like it a little bit thicker. That's just my preference. That's just how I do things. And I'm just blending this out a little bit. I want a little bit more lightness underneath there. That's why I like to just apply it with this little eggshell blender, because it's so much easier. And I can turn it sideways, all that fun stuff. Okay. Now, this is where I come in with my favorite brush. This is like my all-time favorite brush. This is the travel size one I have of it. It's more of a blush. Sorry, my nose is like itchy right here on the side, without a doubt, every time. So this brush is more of like a blush, bronzer, contour brush, but I use it for everything. I use it for absolutely everything, okay? It's my favorite brush. I use this for foundation, blush, bronzer. Somebody asked me the other day if I use it for everything. Like, do I mix things with it? Yes, I do. The reason why is because it all goes together. Like, it all flows together. Look at that and how that just gently applies in there. Now I can just take that brush. Now, if you want to, you can dab it into there. Now, as you're noticing here, it's giving you that flawless application because that setting spray, it is laying on top of the setting spray. That is key. Now, primer's great, or laying on top of the primer. I'm so sorry. That is key because that is going to be what basically is the, it's just like paint. I don't know how to explain it without getting technical. And somebody told me the other day I was too technical. I needed to start being a little bit more, I needed to like dumb it down a little bit. So what I'm saying is it's kind of like painting. You put a primer down so your paint goes on smoother. You don't have to use as much. And also you use the primer because it just makes the life of the paint last longer, right? Now, obviously we're not wearing paint overnight or foundation overnight, but you do want your foundation to go further, but you also want your foundation to look fresher throughout the day. Whatever you're doing, great. Well, I'm glad there's still somebody on here. Normally I'm talking to myself by the end of this thing. You know what I mean? I'm coming on a weird time. Both of my kids are sick. My son has pink eye. My daughter has an ear infection, and we haven't been able to get her to take her meds. So we finally were able to get a dose into her. I might take her outside because it's really nice out today. So I may take her outside to get some air. Now, this looks a little crazy, not gonna lie. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go in here and I'm gonna just fix this just a little. And I'm gonna use this little blender right in here. Okay, so it just looks a little crazy. I just needed to get a little bit settled in here. And then I'm going to show you guys how to get that flawless application underneath your eyes, so it doesn't look like cakey or anything like that. But I need to get my blender wet. A wet blender is like the best combination for getting your foundation to kind of go together. Okay, so just be patient. Now, this is where I like to go in and I like to just bring this down a little bit. Okay. Now, remember that Napoleon thing that I was showing you? This is where I go in with the Napoleon now. Okay. So I'm going to go back in with this bronzer. Now, you don't have to wear bronzer if you don't want to. If you like that contour that you put on from the complexion palette, you can do that. I like to apply the bronzer because I feel like it lays really well on top of that. And I just apply it right in here on the nose. Okay. I go right in here. Okay. Okay. So I've got that on. Now, before I put my blush on, I want to show you guys how I get underneath that eye, how I keep it from creasing. Now, I don't struggle with that very much because I use the wax-based concealer, so I don't struggle with my creasing underneath my eyes that bad. Oh, thank you so much, Raquel. I don't struggle with it that bad. So, but I do know a lot of you do struggle with it. So I have the concealer underneath my eyes, right? Now, if you were just getting on here and you're like, okay, what do I do? All you want to do is you want to put concealer here and you want to put a concealer right here. Okay, you don't want to put concealer all over your eye. And the reason that is because it's going to cause that lid to look cakey and thick. Okay, so this is going to give you a more lifted lifted eye, lifted look. And whatever you have left over, that is what you're going to blend underneath the eye. Okay, so do you see how doing that, it just really lifted, and you don't have to use tons of concealer. Okay, that's the great part about wax-based concealers. You don't have to use tons. Now, if you're like, oh my gosh, I still need to kind of set underneath there, this is what I would do. So I would take this small blender, and you don't want a lot because this will dry the eye out. So you don't want tons. So I'm just going to take this little amount, and I'm just going to lightly apply it underneath the lid. Okay, so do you notice how I don't have any bad creasing or anything like that going on? And then I'm going to take this water-based setting spray. Okay, it's water-based. That is key. You want water-based. Plus, this holds everything for up to 16, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray it. I'm going to pick it up with my finger, okay? I'm going to use my ring finger because it's like the pores muscle control. I'm going to pat it underneath there, and then I'm going to go through, and I'm just going to pat it underneath my eye, and I'm just going to leave it just like that, okay? And then you're going to do the other side, right? So do you see how the other eye has lifted? It looks totally different, and you didn't have to put tons of concealer on. So I'll put one right here, right there, go in. And you notice how I did this before I put on my blush, but after I put on my bronzer. Okay. I always want to put this on after my bronzer, before my blush. That's just my routine. That's just what I like to do. It seems to work a lot better for me. Okay. And I just pat that in. And again, I like a wet blender. It just gives me more to work with. Again, I'm just patting underneath the eye. Going to spray the back of my hand again, take some with the blender, take that ring finger, I'm going to pat it, and then I'm going to take that blender and I'm going to pat that. Okay, so while that's sitting there ready to rock and roll, I'm going to apply my blush. Okay, so this is my favorite blush. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but you can layer blushes, okay? So I used this, and this for my eyeshadow today. I mixed these two and used them on my lid. This is blush bronzer on my lids, okay? That's all I used for my shadow today. So you can actually mix these if you want to. I'm not going to today since I have them on my shadow, but I'm just going to take a little bit of this one right in here, and you don't need a lot. Like literally, that is probably enough. And it gives you like a very sheer, almost, what's the name that I'm looking for? Almost like a highlighter, right? Almost a highlighted look. Now, I do have wrinkles, which is very common. Like, you can't completely get rid of all of your wrinkles unless you're getting Botox. Like, let's just be honest here. Like, you can't get rid of everything unless you go and get the Botox, right? So if you notice here, because that concealer is wax base, I do have the wrinkles, but it's not like caking through like you would see with most concealers, right? A lot of concealers, you can notice, will start to get that cakey look towards the end of the day, which is hard sometimes because a lot of women don't like that. I don't really know a woman who does. I don't know a woman who really does like that. Now, a really good tip, if you for some reason get too much blush on your face, just go back in with your foundation and just blend that out. Okay? That's all you have to do. Now, this step's going to be really super important. Okay, guys? This last 2 steps are going to be really super important to seal and lock your face for that flawless look. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to apply my foundation or my mascara really fast, because I always forget to do that. But these last 2 steps are going to be super important. I like to apply my mascara looking like this, looking down. It gives it a really good volume. But I love this mascara, so it's one of my favorites. Okay, I'm going to curl the other, well, I'm going to do this down here. Hey, Rosa. Hey, Rosa. I just talked to your mom the other day. I hope she's feeling better. I hope she is feeling better. That lady is a hard worker. So I'm going to do this side. I don't know about you guys, but I have like that one side, that one side that doesn't like to curl. It's because like I sleep on this side. I sleep sideways, you know, with my head in the pillow like that. Ugh. So for some reason, these do not curl very well. Amanda Raquel is from Canada. She lives in Canada. My husband used to live in Canada for work. I've always wanted to go. I lived in Alaska for 5 years. We went to Canada to get to Alaska, but I always wanted to live in Canada. Always. But there's no jobs right now for him to bid on. Yeah. Okay, so I have that mascara on. It seems to be cooperating with me today. I don't have to slap it or talk dirty to it. I'm kidding. So this last step is going to be really super important, guys, okay? So again, remember my flawless finish, you get this Napoleon thing, right? So we did all of our eyeshadow with this. We did our blush and bronzer with this. And we used this to set before we applied the foundation to reduce the pores. And then we put the setting spray on. This is what's going to help to set it so it lasts all day, okay? So it lasts all day. So you're going to take this translucent powder again. You're going to take your brush, okay? And you're going to take it and you're going to apply it and you're going to pat it in, okay? You're going to pat your translucent powder. Do not go like that. I'm not a fan of that because all it's doing is it's just swirling it around your face. It's not going into your skin. It's not getting into the pore. It's not getting into anything, right? So do you see how that completely changes it? Okay. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to apply that. Now, you notice that I kind of stick in my T-zone area while I'm applying my translucent powder. That's because translucent powder, not only is it important to set your foundation, but it also acts as a mattifier, okay? Matte skin for mature skin is no bueno, okay? The more dry our skin looks, the bad it looks. But a little bit of translucent powder is good because you want to use it as a mattifier to soak up any extra oils that you may have during the day. So I just kind of lightly apply. That's why I like this, because when I have like the loose powder, it just goes everywhere, right? So I feel like we have more control when it's in a little pouch like this, and I can just stick my brush in, pat it, and just pat it. I don't go underneath the eye. I just go around these areas right in here, and I push it into my skin. Okay, I push it in. That is key. Now, the last part that is going to be the most important part of everything that you've just done. So you could sit here and you could put all this foundation on, all this bronzer on, all this cheek color on, all this blush and all these eyeshadows. But if you do not set your face with a setting spray, you might as well just dump it all down the toilet. Okay? And the reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of times we don't do setting spray. And I think a lot of people don't realize the importance of the setting spray. Setting spray is literally the hairspray that holds everything to your skin. Now, when the mask thing was going on, or when women were going to the stores and taking their shirts off, and it was a white shirt and it was the last white shirt and somebody got foundation all over it, like pain in the butt, like that makes me PO'd when that happens. It's like, why would you go to the store and try on clothes and it be a white shirt? Like, that drives me crazy. That's another live in itself. But this is going to be what holds that stuff to your skin for up to 16 hours. Literally will go nowhere. It's water-based. It's patent controlled, temperature patent. So when your skin is starting to heat up, it is holding it all to your skin. Okay? So give myself about 5 minutes. And if I go like this, you guys have seen me work out and then I'm wiping my face and nothing is coming off. That is the power of that setting spray. That's why it's so important that you're priming and setting your skin. Now, other setting sprays I don't know much about because I only use this particular setting spray. This is the only one I've ever used. I never used setting spray before I started using this one because setting sprays didn't really mean much to me, right? Like, a lot of people don't think about it. They're like, oh, I need a setting spray. Well, I thought powder was my setting spray. Powder is what you use as a preset because that's what's going to help mattify the areas in which you get yellow or you get oily. It's also going to be as an extra insurance policy for those pores that kind of stick out, because as mature skin, we tend to get more pores on our face, right? So we want to make sure that we are kind of covering those areas. So I encourage you guys to be using a setting spray. Setting spray, setting spray, setting spray. This is my nude lip that I love, okay? I'm just gonna take this. Throw this on. And there we go. Like bam, wham, thank you, ma'am. Now, usually this only takes me about 5 minutes to do because, but I was showing you guys how I do it. And this is my Flawless Finish combination that I use. I use this every time I apply my foundation. I use these steps every single time. So a lot of people ask me, how do you get your foundation so perfect? How does your foundation stay all day like that? How do you get it to look so, without it looking crinkly? I didn't like that one on there. I put this one on there. I like this one better. This is Peace. That's the one I thought I grabbed. I like that one better. So this is what I do. I use a primer and a setting spray, okay? Or, like I showed you guys earlier, I use a SPF moisturizer too. So this acts as a primer as well, okay? And then I use my translucent powder that comes in my 3-well. Hi, Tammy. I was just talking about you. Your daughter probably told you I was talking about you. And then I use my translucent powder and I apply it to my skin exactly how I showed you guys at the end. I just pat it in there and I push it into the face all over. And then I spray my setting spray. Okay? I apply my foundation, apply my concealers, and then at the end, I take that translucent powder, pat it back in, and then I set it with my setting spray. That's why I love this set, because it literally does the whole work for me. It seems like it might be a couple more steps than what you're used to, but I promise you, It makes that flawless foundation look amazing. Like, I promise you. And I see here that I have this, I hate my brow area. I hate my brows. Anybody else hate their brows? I hate my brows. I really want to get them microed, but I'm too cheap. I'm too cheap to have them done. So that is my recipe for a flawless foundation. Now, if you struggle with getting that flawless look, if you struggle with getting your contour, your bronzer on there, it's so easy. I know, like, I did it a little bit faster, but I do have a step-by-step guide if you want the guide. And it tells you step-by-step, like, what you should do. Here you should put powder. Here you should put setting spray. Here you should put, you know, your bronzer and your contour, and it has a contour outline of how you should contour and bronze your skin, contour and highlight your skin. If you want that, all you have to do is just comment guide below, and I can send that over to you. It's just a general guide. It's going to help you. But I really hope this was helpful for you guys, because I always love to bring information, because it's super important for me to educate. Super important for me to educate. So I hope this was helpful for you. This is also the way that I like to add a glow to my skin. As you can see, my skin doesn't look greasy, it doesn't look heavy, it doesn't look cakey. It looks very natural. And underneath my eyes, it's not crinkling, which is amazing for me, because it used to crease before I started using this. So I hope you guys have a great Wednesday, and